I don't even need to be famous. I don't even know. I just want people to be able to go to it. I just don't have time for that. I wish I did. But I gotta mow lawns and do laundry and, you know.
No,
I gotta shop for groceries.
Go to the create button on top.
No, it's going on here. It's going on here. Hold on. I got it. There's gonna be a little bit of lag. So here we go. Here we go. Oh, I gotta turn the mic off this. Turn that off. Okay, all my students get a shout out. Is that what you do? You guys all get a shout out. Okay, some of you have. So what we're striving for today. What's going on here? What the heck? There we go. It's for you guys to see what's going on. That's the first thing. Ah. There we go. There we go, I think. All right, cool. Here we go. All right. Literally. Oh shoot, what did I just do? Now it's gone. Oh gosh. Golly. Come back. Come back. There we go. All right. When we're drawing the human figure, what do we... oh yeah, so we're using charcoal, compressed charcoal, general charcoal. That's what we're using. And we're using an eraser. I got this eraser, just a regular eraser. When we draw the human figure, what are we doing first? Do you guys know? What do you guys know? Yeah, head. So we start with the head, okay? I recommend starting with the head. You don't have to. You can start with whatever you want, but for this, we're going to start with the head. What are we trying to get here? Some of you know. What are we focusing on? Not just the head, but what? The shapes, good. Before shape is lines. We're using line, so we're using line, okay? Direction, gesture. So write down gesture. Write down here gesture. / pose. Okay? There's a little lag, so just you guys will see. Okay, and then the next thing, we want the gesture, we want the pose, and I'm going to show you how to get that, okay? Or one way to do it. The next thing that we want is, and we're using line, proportion. We want to be aware of proportion. Okay? And we're using line, yes. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about shape for sure. Okay? And we want this to look like form. We want this to look 3D. How do we make it look 3D? Shadows. Yes. Bing, bing. Yeah, you guys got it. So shadows, that's how we make it look 3D. Because what do we already have here? What's the paper? It's already what? White, right? So we add values. We add light values, medium values, dark values. Because the paper's already white. Okay. Now, the way I was taught and the way I like to do this, whether I'm drawing a person or an animal like a horse, okay, or a bird or a fish, whatever, what I start with is the head, okay? So, we're going to go head and neck. 2. We're going to go torso. And 3, pelvis. Torso and pelvis they're kind of together because they are connected by what? By the spine. Okay. And then we're going to go legs and feet. And write this down. You write this down, you get points. You don't write it down, you don't get points. Okay, 5. Arms and hands. Now we have this bulky piece of charcoal. Are we going to be able to get a high amount of detail? No, we don't care about that, okay? All right, now let's put your name here. Put your full name. And it's what's the date? 12 what? Oh, 12/12. All right, cool. So there we go. All right. Now, what I want you guys to do first, the way I want you guys to hold the charcoal, and it's going to be kind of weird because most of you are you've been conditioned since childhood to hold your drawing tools and writing tools like a pencil. You've been conditioned to hold all your stuff like this, okay? Which isn't necessarily bad, okay? But I want you guys to hold it more like this. I want you to hold it between your thumb and your pointer finger. Okay, so I want you to hold it like that. And what we want to do is we want to give light pressure. I want you to hold it towards the back. All right, so here we go. Let's do this, okay? I'm kind of waking up here. Let's just get drawing here. I'm going to kind of move this out of the way. All right, so let's start with that head. Let's go about that big right there. You're like, how big? About this big right here. All right. So I usually start with the ball for the head, and then we're going to go, okay, what's the head connected to? The neck. So the neck is doing this. Okay, the neck is arcing backwards. Okay, so the neck's arcing backwards. And then what's the neck attached to? It's attached to the rib cage. Okay, so we have the rib cage like this, let's say. I'm kind of simplifying this, going off, trying to make this understandable to you guys. So your first rib is really narrow, and the rib cage, if you look at her, so you guys have your guys' problem is you're looking at my drawing, your drawing, and the reference, okay? So you're continuously this whole time going to be looking at my drawing, your drawing, and the reference, okay? And you're going to get so far. And we're going to go like this. Here's the back of the rib cage, okay? It's coming like this. And then the front is coming down like this. And the rib cage it's an ovoid shape. It's like an egg, okay? So there's her rib cage. And then I put this line right here in front of the ball, and she's looking straight. So this tells us, okay, this is a side view. And this is the bottom of her chin, okay? Now, let's thicken up that neck. And we're going really lightly here, okay? Really, really lightly. We're not pushing down hard. Don't hold it overhand. Just hold it underhand. Kind of like this, okay? I know it's probably awkward. Now, what's happening to her body? Is her body and her torso, it's pinching. And it's also twisting. Look at the direction of her pelvis and look at the direction of her rib cage, right? So she's twisting her whole body. Imagine you're in this position, right? So the pelvis is pointed this way, and then her torso is pointed that way. So she's twisting and she's pinching. You're like, pinching, twisting, what are you talking about? I know. So this is going to go like this. Okay, we're going to have, what's this? This is the tissue connecting the rib cage and the pelvis here. So the pelvis we're going to go like this. Okay, just do it lightly here. And this part's pinching, so the rib cage is coming down, and her pelvis is doing this, and it's going across. Now, that line right there is the great trochanter. I'm thinking across. So that little, I made that a little bit darker there. Going across, that's a little bit darker here. So that right there and that right there. What is that? That's this right here. If you look at right here, you have your great trochanter right here and right here. Okay? Now, if I go like this, my weight's on my right leg, so that pushes my hip up on the right side. So this is going to be higher up, and my hip's going to angle down. When you're drawing the figure, you want to be aware of the angle of the shoulders and the angle of the hips. Well, the angle of everything. You know, the arms, all that. Now, we're going head, neck, torso, pelvis because everything else is attached to that. Now, when you guys get a lot of experience and you keep doing this again and again and again and again, then you can approach drawing the human figure however you want. Okay. Now, she's kind of turned like this. What's this line right here? This line is the center line, okay? What makes up the center line? It's kind of an imaginary line, but it's kind of a literal line. You have your pubic bone, which is down here, okay? You have her belly button's about right here. You have the sternum, which is about here. And you have the pit of the neck, which is about right here. Okay, these are things that you want that make up the center line, that follow human figure down. Now, let's do this. And I'm going really slow so you guys can keep up and have an understanding of this approach, okay? Now, we're gonna go like this. What's this? This is her leotard, okay? It's going around like that. And then her leotard's going like this. So it's wrapping around the leg. The leg's gonna be coming down about this angle. And I'm looking at the length. I'm trying to, hear my repeated lines, we're trying to figure out the length of that leg, okay? We're trying to make it not too short, okay? And so as you're drawing the figure, you stop, you make a mark, you stop, you look, you make a mark, you stop, you look. Okay, so I think that's right. And we go, okay, there's the end of the knee. So there's the end of the leg. Now, there's some basic forms here. Okay, there's basic shapes. We got the circle, we got rectangle, we got triangle, okay? Now, we're looking at this leg is it pointed towards us or away from us, the upper leg? It's kind of pointed towards us a little bit. So we're going to have a wrapping line going like this, okay? We want to be thinking, hey, it's wrapping, it's coming towards us. So I'm going to put this is called the cross contour line. It's wrapping towards us. Now let's put this other leg here. It's coming out from the pelvis. It's connecting here. It's coming down. And we're going to go like this. It's kind of going straight. It's flat on the ground. Like this is where her weight is. So this is our ground line, let's say. And the knee ends about right here. Okay? Ends about right here. We don't have to be totally exact right now. And then we're thinking, okay, what's that leg doing? That leg is doing this up here. Okay? You got a bunch of muscles up here. You got fatty tissue. But it's coming towards us. This is, once again, a cross contour line. And I'm like, that's a wrapping line. It tells the viewer, hey, this is coming towards us. Now, you can tell the next thing is we have her, let's put this lower leg is kind of angling back. So it's doing this, and there's like an arc. You see that arc right there? So it's arcing back, and I'm kind of including her foot, okay? And about right here, you can see that the shadow is wrapping around. I'm going to zoom in here for a second. That shadow is wrapping around. If you look at the reference, it's wrapping around the leg. So I'm going to give this a little bit of value already and just gently smudge that with my finger. Okay, I'm putting a little bit of value. Huh? You guys good? Okay, zoom out. Here we go. Okay, so now let's put in, that was the lower leg on the bottom. Now let's look at the angle of the lower leg on the top. Now, that lower leg on the top is moving away from us really quickly, okay? That's called foreshortening. So it's moving back about that angle like that. And then here's the calf coming out about right here. And there's this really tight S curve, okay? When you're drawing the human figure, I'm trying to get that right. There we go. Okay. You have arcs, okay, or C curves. You have S curves, okay, and you have straight lines. So this is an S curve right here. And then at the end of that, we're like, okay, well, how can we break this foot down without knowing like the anatomy of the foot? Well, this part down here is the ankle, and that's wrapping around. See, I'm putting that wrapping line, okay? I'm gonna scoot this over here. And then we go, okay, here's the ankle coming out about right here. That's the heel, not the ankle, but the heel. And then what's the angle of the foot? The angle of the foot is coming down about like that, okay? We're using the simplest of shapes here, okay? We don't need to do anything. We're not going to try and put toenails in. We're not going to try and put like nails in and all that stuff. We're going to keep it really, really simple. All right, now, this is kind of a complicated area. We have this foot overlapping the other foot. And I'm taking my time here going, okay, here's where the foot is coming from underneath the leg. And that toes, her left foot, there's the end of the pinky toes, let's say. Like there's the pinky toe, and then we're gonna bring this out further, and this is gonna be the big toe, and it's kind of at an angle here. It's moving at an angle, and then we're gonna move back, like so. See, I don't draw every single toe. I'm keeping it like there's a sock on the foot, okay? And then this is gonna come back. That's where the toes end. That's like where the pinky toe ends. And then here's where the foot begins. We're going to go like that. And then we have, so we're just going to keep that simple shape right there. And I'm a little off, but that's okay. We're just going to do that. And then I'm going to go, okay, where's that ankle end? I'm going to say it ends about right there. So this ankle, the ankle bone down here, the ankle is where the foot begins and the lower leg ends. I'm going to extend that out. So I'm going to say this is the other ankle. That's where the lower leg ends and the ankle is and the foot begins. Okay, so there we go. Taking it nice and slow. So, and just do your best today. And whatever you guys learn today, I encourage you to do this at home. Okay. Do it again and again and again. All right. Now let's go like this. Let's talk about these arms, okay? So these arms are, let's do this. Let's do the chin. The chin's going to come up. Here's the jaw. Mandible coming back. Let me zoom into this so you guys can see that better. And that's going to come up. I got one person watching. That's cool. Okay. And then we're going to put that ear there. That ear is going to have a letter C. And then the hair shape. Okay. When you're drawing hair, don't... you can draw hair however you want, but just for this case, just follow along, do what I do, but don't draw every single strand of hair, okay? Let's keep it simple. We're going to do the hair shape. So the hair is going up, and it curves this way, and then it curves towards the forehead like so. So we have this part on the temple, and then this part that goes towards the forehead, okay? And then the hair has a little bit of volume, so it's going to come up like so. Okay? And then now watch. This part, the hair goes along about right there, the back of the head. Now, this is where, and I notice, oh, her shoulders are up higher. So that's the top part of her shoulder right here. And that arm's going to be coming down. And we'll get to that arm in a minute. So that arm's going to be going back. Now, what I'm doing here is that's the shoulder muscle, okay, the deltoid. And then you have the shoulder blade here. And then there's the rib cage, because the shoulder blade floats. I'm kind of exaggerating this a little bit, but the shoulder blade floats on the rib cage. All right, let's finish up that hair shape. That's coming up. She's got like this, her hair's up in this curved, messy bun. We got a little triangle shape coming up. And here's some directional lines of her hair coming out. But that's all we need right now. That's all we need. All right, let's do this too. Just since we're here. Let's just do that. And I'm going to zoom out here. There we go. And let's put her arms in. Okay, so this arm right here. Actually, we need to do this. There's the bottom of her chin. We need to put that neck coming back, swooping back. This right here, this part of the neck is called the digastric plane. Remember that? Digastric plane. And this is the hyoid bone right here. A little indication of the hyoid bone. You have a little bone right there. And then you have the rest of your neck, and there's a bunch of muscles in there. Okay, so here's where her shoulder's shrugging up. Okay, this is moving upward. And then her arms swooping down, so we want to get the gesture of the arm really lightly. We're going to come down, and I'm taking note of where the hands end. So the hands are ending below this leg here. So this is where that leg's hitting the ground, right? So that hand's down a little bit. It's down a little bit from her right leg. So the hand ends about right there. And these are just visual measurements, okay? When you're drawing the figure, when you're drawing anything, you're making visual measurements, okay? And you're drawing like realistically, okay? And the most basic shape of her arm, okay, is this elongated triangle. So this is coming down like so. It's wider at the top, narrow at the bottom. It's narrow at the wrist. It's wider at the top of the arm. Okay? And then about halfway, about right here, we have her chest or her breast right here. And I see that the elbow is lining up to that about right there. So I'm putting in a slight arc right here for the elbow. Okay? And not even knowing anatomy, you just need to observe the lines, shapes, and see what I'm doing here. I'm not putting down any hard lines. Now, this is one way of drawing the figure. There's another way of drawing the figure. It's called contour drawing, where you do put down one hard final line, and that's a really cool approach too. I like approaching the figure like that sometimes. Now, what's happening here at the elbow? You have muscle. It gets a little bit wider. We're going to have a S curve here coming down here. And then it gets a little bit wider right here. Why? Because of the bone that's underneath. You have your humerus bone, okay, and that sticks out. You can feel that right here. You have a condyle, okay, as you look up. That thing right there, if you hold your arm, that's your humerus bone right there. And on the other side over here, you can feel that on the outside, that condyle, okay, right there. These two hard points are your humerus. It's your upper arm bone, okay? So, attached to those, you have your your flexors, which are underneath, and you have your extensors, which are on top. Okay. And then this goes from narrow to wide. And there's, make sure this is getting wider here. And let's put her clothes, her leotard, wrapping around. Okay. And let's also put this twist in, since we're here. The twist up, you can see here's her chest right here, and the cloth is pulling from the breast, pulling to the hip here. So that's pulling. I'm going to put another line, and it's pulling. You can see the stretching of the fabric, and it makes these triangular shapes in some cases, okay? The fabric. Now, what's happening too, let's talk about this while we're here, is you have the light sources coming from the right, and it's coming down, right? So light source is coming from the right, shining down. So this is her right side is the light side. So the right side, or for right, is the light side. The left side is the dark side. Okay, light and shadow. So let's make a mark where we're gonna make a mark, a line, a soft line where the light side is and the shadow side is. So on the breast right here, it curves. Okay, and then you have this zigzagging thing happening with the folds of the cloth. Okay, and then along her belly here, right, it's curving here. And then we have, that's the division, this line right here going bump, 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 bump. That is where the light and shadow is. So we can take that and lightly touching, shade that in. Okay? And that's going to make it look 3D. That's the first part, and that's the minimum that we need. Let me zoom out a little bit here. Okay, so we got light and shadow, light and shadow. All right, now another thing that we need to put in is this cast shadow. So down here in her pubic area, okay, we have this little cast shadow that's arcing over. And let's shade that in. So that's a cast shadow. I'm tempted to like jump ahead, but I got to stop myself. All right. Since we are going to go back to her other arm, but since we're already here, let's go over to her legs. And now this line right here that we put down, okay, that's also this part of the shadow called the core shadow. So this like where light turns into shadow, you have a transition where you have a core shadow. It's the darkest part of the shadow. I'm just going to touch on that. Now, this is happening on her leg as well. Let me see if I can zoom in here for you guys. And I can point this out here. Okay. So, right here, going along here, look up. This is where the core shadow is. It gets a little bit softer. You can see kind of this darker area where the cursor is going here. See, it comes down the leg, and then watch, it curves on the knee right here. That's called the vastus medialis muscle, okay? And then it curves around the kneecap or the patella right here. So you got this curve, and this kind of straight, and then a curve here, and then, well, I mean, it's a very elongated curve. So what we want to do is we want to put that division down between on the leg light and dark. So we go, okay, that's about happening right here. It's like kind of a straight. And this is curving slightly to the left. And then we're going to bring that down. And then we're going to curve this down here where the vastus medialis is. And then we got the kneecap, another curve right here. Okay, so that's where, once again, we have a division of light and dark. And let's just take our charcoal and fill that in and lightly soften that. Okay, now you don't have to blend it. You could just leave the value and boom, you're done right there, okay? Oh, I don't have the smudge tool. Okay, I need to get a smudge tool. You don't need a smudge tool, but for like these smaller detailed areas, you could use one. Let's move over to this other leg. What's happening on her right leg? Okay, so what's happening on her right leg is we want to where the legs are touching each other. Okay, you can see this line. Look at this right here. See this line right here coming up? There's a very dark line right here. So I haven't, right? You see that? And we have a dark line there. We have this line right here. Watch this. Once again, I'm going to trace that with the cursor. We want to put that line in. Now look at this little pooch right here. Look at that little bump right down there. You see that? That's the calf muscle. Okay, but we have this. So let's put that in. So as you're looking at the reference, we want to darken that, push down harder here. So you ask yourself, is this arcing under or over? And so I'm darkening this line, and there's that little bump of the calf down there. And try to find a sharp, try to find a sharp, and this is doing this. Now let's look at this, her right leg here. And where it's folding. We have a darker line right here. See, this is arcing over. That's pinching right there. And then this is arcing over again, but it's not as dark as right here. So this is arcing over. We're going to darken that right there a bit. Okay? Like so. And then this is the darkest part of, well, let's just give that. Let's make this part a little bit darker than this part right here. Because she's wearing this white leotard, so we want that's lighter than her skin tone. So the skin tone's darker. All right. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to kind of soften. I'm going to take the smudge tool and soften this part right here. Now, she has a cast shadow. Look at the cast shadow on her right thigh here. This line right here, that's a cast shadow. Her left leg's making a cast shadow on her right leg. So we want to put that in as well. So it's kind of straight. And then it curves around here. And we want to shade that in also right there, that cast shadow. And you could use the pinky or your smudge tool and lightly do that. All right, now let's identify the core shadow. And I'm going to exaggerate this a little bit, but let's exaggerate the core shadow on her right leg. So it's going to go about from right here, go along the leg, down to the knee. And her kneecap is right here. This is the kneecap or the patella right here. What's this? What's that weird bump right there? That's the femur. That's the bottom of the femur, okay? There's this round condyle right there. And then what's this bump right there? That's the top of the tibia. The tibia is top part of the lower leg. But anyway, this kind of diamond shape that it's making, okay, is the patella. But anyway, this line comes down and it comes down and it goes around the kneecap here, okay? And then to the shin, which is about right here. So we're going to go like that. And then it curves around. Curves, but it kind of angles. This one, it kind of angles actually. I'm going to go boom, boom. I'm going to put that angle. Zoom in a little bit more here. Hopefully you guys can see that. This is, and what are we doing? We're identifying the core shadow. And what is the core shadow? That is the division between light and dark. And then we're going to shade all that in lightly. We can soften that. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to blend this a little bit more here. Soften that some more. So some of that light, some of that shadow's moving up. From the core shadow, let's say this is the core, that's the core shadow right there. When you move up from there, there's halftone. Halftone is, it's lighter shading that's or a little bit of value that's in the light side. Okay, let's do this too right here. Just go back and forth like that. And so let's zoom out and see where we're at. And then take note, like, look at your own drawing and go, hey, is it kind of looking 3D? Is it popping? Let's put a darker line where the thigh is touching the ground also. It's pretty dark over here. It's touching the ground. And we have this cast shadow on the ground too. All right. So I'm gonna go, let's go over to her arms here. Go over to her arms. All right. So here's this hand. We're just gonna go hand like this. Let's put that other arm in. I'm going to go, okay, here's her neck here, right? And that other arm, there's her shoulder on her left side. Her other arm over here, okay, comes down to about here. It's angling down, then it's coming out. And I'm bringing this down here again. And then I'm going, oh, right here, there's a little triangle shape. There's a little triangle shape where in between her two arms, okay? So I'm being observant of that. Now down here, here's the wrist. We want to put an arc, a wrapping line here, okay? That's a pinch where the wrist is. And then the hand is coming straight forward. A problem that people make, new people, when they're drawing hands is they make everything too rounded. And you want to be aware that bones, I mean, they are rounded, but there's a lot of straights that you put in. When you're drawing a hand, put in straights. Okay, so that's the end. That's where her knuckles are coming around like so. The middle knuckle, ring, pinky, and then her fingers are coming down like that. So there's the hand part, but from this point to this point, and then her fingers are coming down. There's one, and we'll just go two, like that, and we'll just go three, and we'll just go pinky. Okay, we're just gonna keep them very, very simple. Those fingers. We're not gonna try to put nails on there or anything like that. All right, her other hand ends about right here, and I have writing in the way, but I'm just gonna draw over that. Okay, but her other hand's ending about right here, and this is wrapping this direction under. See, this hand was wrapping over, okay? So that means it's coming towards us. This is wrapping under, so that tells us, oh, the arm's pointed away from us. And let's put a straight here, and let's go around, and then that hand's coming down. And this is hard to see, so I'm just gonna leave that hand alone. Let's just go boom like that because it's all muddled from the writing. But okay. So I'm a little off right there because I don't have her chest there. So I'm like, okay, I messed up. What do I do now? So I'm gonna go neck like this, and I'm going to go. I gotta move this arm back. So I messed this up, and that's okay. But I gotta move this arm back like so. But anyway, we'll do that later. I'm just gonna leave it for now. But I can, no, you know what? I'm just gonna redraw. Here we go. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna go, okay, I gotta move that arm back. So I'm gonna go like this. So this new line right here, and you guys can leave it, you don't have to do it, but I wanna show you how you can just fix your mistakes, okay? This new line right here, because my proportions are off, this line right here is this line redone. Because this needs to come forward, I need to see her chest right here. So this arm, I need to move that back. So that line is this line now. That line is this line now. And then there's a little bit of her chest right there. Okay, and this is coming down, redrawing. Okay, so fixing that mess up. So that means I got to redraw that hand, but whatever. Okay, so that's the right one. There we go. Let's do this. Or I'm doing this anyway. There we go. Okay. Now let's shade this arm. This arm's in shadow. And then her chest needs some value. That's in shadow. This is all in shadow. So we're just going to go like that. Her whole face and chest in shadow. I'm going to fix this arm here. That right there. Now, let's make this pop a little bit more. And the way that we're going to do that is this. Look at the background. So the background is what value? Light, medium, or dark? It's medium. Look at her hair. Her hair is darker than the background. Look at the cast shadow on the ground. Okay? That's darker than the background. So let's just take the side of the charcoal, and I'm gonna take this shorter stick. I told you to get a longer stick and a shorter stick. And we're just gonna go lightly around. And I'm being careful. I'm going along the edge, along that line that I put in. And you could use your smudge tool if you have one. Just light pressure here. Now, what I want to do down here, where we have shadow on her torso, is I'm looking at the background, and if we look at this right here, if we look at her leotard, see it's light. Now what? Look at this. This part is in shadow. This is the darkest part of the leotard here, and then it goes lighter again because light's hitting the ground and it's bouncing back up on the underside of her clothes here. So it goes light, dark, light. Now look at this. The background's darker than the bottom part of the leotard, okay? So we got to make sure that this is darker. Okay. Than her leotard. So she pops, okay? So there's contrast, value contrast here, okay? Now I'm going a little bit darker than it is, but that's okay. And then let's put in that cast shadow shape that's on the ground. So from her thigh, let's go to her left wrist. There's this shape from her knee that's curving out and going to her wrist, and we're going to shade that in. And here's the cast shadow from her body onto the ground. I'm using that smudge tool. I think I want to jump up to her face and work on the face a little bit. But before I do that, I want to do like her skin tone's a little bit darker than the leotard because the leotard's white. So right here, what I want to do on her skin, I want to just gently, barely touching, just make that a little bit darker than the leotard. I'm borrowing, I'm not using the charcoal, I'm just using the charcoal that's on my fingers and putting it on there. And then there's where her leotard is like pressing into her skin on her thigh. We want to put a really thin line right there. Okay. And then we can soften that. And blend down a bit. Like so. I'm softening this edge moving downward like that. Okay? Moving down the leg. We could even clean up this edge here, make that give it a little bit of darker edge on the leotard. Now, Let's move down to that foot and her, or the feet, I should say. And let's identify, and I'm going to zoom in here so you guys can see it better, and we can all see it better. Okay, so check out her foot right here. See this line right here? So there's the core shadow right there. So there's that core shadow. Now look at her knee. The knee, if you squint, the knee is darker than the foot here. So we want that to happen, but more importantly, we want this line right there. Right? There's the delineation of light to dark. So we're going to put that in right, and that core shadow goes along her second toe here. You see that? We probably won't get that in, but let's just see what we can do here. Let's just go core shadow going along second toe. Keep it simple. Along the foot, and it moves down, down, lower, like so. Okay? Keeping that as simple as possible, like that. And that'll communicate the large form of the foot. Okay, if we had a bigger piece of paper like this paper was double this size, triple this size, we could get a lot of that detail in. You're like, okay, well, what about her nail? We could go like this. Just put a dark shape right there for the nail. You know what I mean? Like maybe a little bit of like that for the toe. But we're just focusing more on, let's do this too. Look at where this is dark. See the shin right here next to the foot? We want a darker edge right here on that little bit of shin right there. So we're just going to make this a little bit darker, push down a little bit more right here on the shin. And then let's take our smudge tool and blend up a little bit, move up slightly. I'm just brushing, moving up. And I said brushing because, basically when you're using charcoal, it's kind of like you're kind of painting. You're just painting with like black and white. It's such a bulky tool. Okay, so we're doing good there. Let's go up to the face. And I'm going to kind of stay zoomed out on the face. Now, this can be a little tricky, so pay attention here. Let me zoom in to the face. All right, the top of the ear lines up to the brow. Okay, so the top of the ear lines up to the brow usually. But her head's tilted up a little bit. It looks like the top of her ear is lined up to the middle of her eye. We're not going to try to put an eyeball in and all that stuff. But what we are going to do, we're going to go, okay, here's forehead. Forehead goes forward, and then it's above the ear. We're going to go back. And we're going to go forward for the nose. And the nose needs to go back, go out further than the brow, okay? Here's the brow ridge right there. Now I'm making it a little harsh or angular, so I'm going to try to round that out a little bit. Okay. And the base of the nose ends about where the bottom of the ear is. So here's the bottom of the ear. We put in the jaw, the ear, and her nose. I'll zoom in a little bit more so you guys can see better. But we've got to keep this simple, okay? Don't try to put highlights in and all that stuff. Okay, here we'll put a little dash for a lash. Just a dash. Okay, just a little tiny dash for the eyelashes. Don't try to put like a bunch of eyelashes. We're just putting a tiny little dash there. You'll see it come up in a second. Okay, and then we're gonna go. Okay, here other eye. Let's put the eyebrow shape. It's going up. It's a triangular shape. It's wide to narrow. And then underneath that, we got the I, which is just going to be, like greater than, less than sign in math. So we're going to make, I think that's the greater than sign, okay? And then for her, we'll just leave it at that for now. And then let's put like her, the base of her nose angling down. Let's put just a dash. See, I just put a dash there. And then let's put the wing of her nose. We'll just do another little curve. Just a little curve, okay? And then her philtrum's coming down. And her mouth's slightly open. The mouth is open. We're just going to go like that. And then that bottom lip's coming forward. And then that bottom, that's going down and back. And that looks horrible. Okay, let's soften that. I gotta fix that. Oh, that's better. All right, and then we're gonna round that out. The chin. And let's soften this. No, almost. Okay. Hold on. We need to do. Okay, that's better. Very simple face. Now, listen. Shh. I know. It's okay. Now the face has light hitting it. Okay. Look at these areas of light. Look here. There's like, it goes this way, that way. It angles like an arrow kind of right here. See that light going along the cheekbone? And we got a little bit of light here on the jaw. We take your eraser and we can go, okay, there's light on the cheekbone. So we can erase a little bit of that. And there's some light. We can carve that out. And you can use any of those carving tools you have. It's a little light hitting your ear. I'll erase that. A little light hitting her jaw. We'll erase that. Okay. Now, let's darken this part of the hair. Let's darken this part of the hair. This part of the hair. We're going to take a break. Look, you guys are doing good. Hang in there. I know. This is long. I know. So now we want to put shapes of dark where the hair is. Where the hair is darker. And we need more hair back here. That's good enough for the face. Last thing we need to do, and you guys have been awesome. I appreciate your attention. I need to narrow that. I need to carve that and narrow that. Arm. Let me zoom out here. Okay, let's go like that. All right. Last thing we need to do, look at this arm here. So we're going to put, where's the light and dark side? Now look, this is rounding like this here on the shoulder. So this is rounding on the shoulder here. Follow along. This is coming down. Look, this is coming down. Rounding down like so, because this is a rounded form. So we're going to go like this. And then let's make this straightish. This is kind of coming in, over, and to the elbow. Okay, so that's what it's doing right there. And it's coming, the shadow's coming along that needs to be lowered. Flexors coming over and down the ulna. So this right here, this is the ulna, and that is our shape of value. Okay? Light pressure. And then right here in her armpit, I'm going to bring that her leotard down a bit because there's this triangular shadow shape in the armpit. We're out in 10 minutes. That's perfect. Okay. Woo! How was that? Dang. What? Guys, hold on. Listen. How many times have you done this? Exactly. How you don't know if it's for you or not. You guys don't know. Walk around. Everybody walk around. Look at each other's work. Everybody walk around. Everybody walk around. Look at each other's work. You guys don't know. You've done this is your first time, okay? Walk around, walk around, walk around. No, this is live. Yeah. It's just there's a little lag because it's YouTube live. Because I want other students to be able to go back to it and like anybody. So, all right. Thank you guys. Thank you, my people out there, my one person, my couple people who showed up. See you guys later.